Shalom, 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 Yasha Allah. This your boy, Brother Samuel Allah. Back at you with another quick edifying video. Today's lesson is going to be called Working of Satan with All Power and Signs and Lying Wonders. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say Halal, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. That's all praises to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahawah, and his only begotten Son's name, who you ignorantly call Jesus, whose name is Yahawashi. All right, and the Holy Spirit, which is the Rawchaa Qadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who have ruled well to the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days. And has pushed this gospel and this truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom. Another mighty shalom to all you Akim out there laboring on the highways and on the hedges and on the unicorn, which is this internet, pushing this 100% doctrine, this 100% truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom to you all as well. All right. This lesson is kind of from, I was watching the elder from GMS South Carolina, and he had the like that AI character, trying to come against the Hebrew Israelites. All right, and I remember seeing this is from Dangerous AI. All right, and just seeing how this AI is, their technology, has greatly increased. And I just want to show this real quick, right? Just understand fair use, fair use, fair use. Let me see if I can go ahead and play it. Fair use, fair use.
Be the GOAT, and I can never be as great as Michael Jordan because I just had a historical choke job tonight, and I have to give credit to Josh Giddey.
Right. So this is AI, and it, it has the voice of LeBron James. It has the facial, expressions, the whole nine. Okay. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
He made a hell of a shot. I think I finally found my match in Josh Giddey. We both love him Giddey parties. So I had nothing but love for my white brother. And during the inbound, I heard Stephen A. Smith's annoying voice in my head. So I zoned out for a moment there. I have to be honest. He lives rent free in my head. And I know.
Right. And, this AI, takes, this technology, man, has vastly increased, right? And to the point where, if you didn't know any better, you'd be like, damn, is he really saying this, right? But let's keep going. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
Was smiling ear to ear when that half-court shot went in. I'm about to delete Instagram and Twitter until next week because I know that boy about to go off on ESPN tomorrow. And all the trolls like Skip Bayless will come out of the woods. So I don't want to see that or else I might crash out. But I don't want to make any excuses, but my groin is still hurting a bit. So that's why I've been playing garbage the past few games. I promise I'm not as washed as I look out there. So I can't wait to get it.
Right. So, and you see this, and they have other ones, and it was crazy because I was flipping through YouTube one time and I saw, I think it was Anthony Davis, and he was just basically, just trolling LeBron. I'm like, wait, and I had to look at it, and, I saw that it was actually AI, and, this is we saw this stuff, a while ago, right? You see where they can basically put somebody else in a place or where somebody else did something and computer generate and put them there and have people believing that you said this or you did this, But this is the technology, and this is also the tactics that, E is going to be using, to come against, the men of the Lord at the end of the day. All right. So I just want to get a couple of scriptures, right? I don't want to make this too long. All right. So let's get this first one. Salakia. In fact, let's get 2 Corinthians, right? 2 and verse number 11. Right? It says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. All right. And we're not ignorant of these devices. We're not ignorant of how they're going to be using these things. All right. They're going to try to, we see how, he's using them now to paint a false narrative, of this, of this ministry. He's, you see, like I said, when the brother had did the video, and I was just kind of looking at him like, man, the man's arms ain't moving, his facial expression, like he's just kind of, but then you see these where you have, their body movements, they're looking, and it's even more realistic, and, but this stuff and this technology is stuff that they're going to try to use, to build, false accusations and different things, against this ministry, and you can already tell, just by the different things, like even this video, right? As I'm speaking, right, this stuff is being put on a transcript, right? And they're for every word that I'm saying, you can go down and read the transcript of it, right? That's what this AI, this technology is for, right? And they're going to be trying to use this, like I say, to come against the men of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. All right. So, but knowing that, so it says in the NLT, 2 Corinthians 2 and verse 11, it's so that Satan will not outsmart us, for we are familiar with his evil schemes. Okay. And they'll use it at first for, fun and entertainment, but they're really trying to just get this stuff to perfect it. All right. So then they can use it, accordingly. I know I did a lesson a while back where they were using, Pac and Biggie, and they did an AI, whole music thing, and I know Elder Apostle Gabar, spoke about it last week, I believe, so this technology, man, they can, mimic your voice, the whole nine. All right. And this is the thing, right? We got to understand, these powers that we're dealing with, right? Ephesians chapter 6 and verse number 12, right? It says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. All right. This is the stuff that we're coming up against. All right. It says in the NLT, it says, we are not fighting flesh and blood enemies, but against evil rulers and authorities of the unseen world, against mighty powers in this dark world, and evil spirits in heavenly places. Okay. And this is that left hand side energy. Right. And we know how the scriptures say that knowledge will increase. OK. And what more, even on that left hand side, they're doing these things. They're coming up with these tactics, to basically to come against the men of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. And we see it. Right. We see it. And that's why, the scriptures tell you 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse number 8. It says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. All right. And he's going to try to see who he can, consume, by throwing out these falsehoods, by throwing out these, using this technology, to try to come up against the men of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. All right. And they're going to, and they're trying to make this technology where it's going to be more believable, it's going to be more believable. All right. And it's just, but these are the things that this devil, is doing. Okay. And we know, right, because he has a short time. All right. Revelation chapter 12, verse number 12. It says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. It says, woe to the inhabiters of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. Okay. This devil has a short time, right? And you see, you know, he wants to be like the Most High, all right? And, you know, but his way is through his technology, all right? His technology, he tries to, you know, create and do these different things, all right? This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse number 3. It says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition." All right, talking about Esau and the Edomites, right? Starting with those top banking families, those elites on down. All right. You know, they're the ones who are pulling the strings or doing these different things, right? You know, they're trying to extend their, you know, their rulership, right? Their ruling, you know, of the world. All right. It says, verse number 4, "Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped, so that he is as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High," right? And these are the technology and the things that they're doing, right? They're creating, you know, these false, you know, artificial intelligent thing. And the thing is, they're using real people, right? You know, some of them they're not using real people, right? But this technology they're using to create people, create these things, and to create these falsehoods to try to come up against the men of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. All right, and you know, knowing that, you know, let's jump down real quick. Verse number 8, it says, "And then shall the wicked be revealed, whom Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming." All right. It says, "Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders." All right. And that's what they're doing, right? They're using this AI, this technology, you know, they're going to use this to lie upon the men of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, right? They might have you in a video over there at a Chinese restaurant eating, you know, pork and shrimp, you know. They might have, you could just imagine, all right, the different things. You know, they have your voice, they'll take your voice, and you see how they can, you know, match your voice pattern, and then they can use that to make you say whatever, you know. These are the things that, you know, this devil has, okay. It says, verse number 9 in the NLT, it says, "This man will come to do the work of Satan with counterfeit power and signs and miracles." Okay, it's counterfeit power. This is not real. You know, this stuff he's using, and he's trying to exalt himself like he's the Most High, but this is all through technology, right on the left hand side, and ultimately it was given to him by Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. And guess what? Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi is going to take this devil down too, as well. You know, but this. You see that, you know, the different things, the different technology, you know, and this is why we gotta, you know, stay close to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, right? He's our refuge in these times, because this guy, you know, hey, they're gonna try to throw everything out there, all right? They're gonna try to throw any and everything out there to try to discredit, you know, this ministry. You know, you have even with the on YouTube, right? You know, you get the little scoffers on there, and you look at the scoffers, you look at some of the stuff, and you're like, this is AI generated. You know, you look at the subscription, you look at all this stuff is like generated around the same time. They have all these different, you know, YouTube channels where people get on lives and they get on these other things and they try to come up against, you know, this truth, man, you know. But what is it? The book of Acts. I was just reading this today. Acts chapter 5 and verse number Let's see. In verse number 38, right? It says, "And now I say unto you, refrain from these men, and let them alone. For if this counsel or this work be of men, it will come to naught. But if it be of the Most High, ye cannot overthrow it, lest happily ye be found even to fight against the Most High." All right? And ultimately, you're not going to win. All right? You're not going to win. And you know, the beautiful thing about Yahawashi is, guess what? Even though you know that there's agents and different things, amongst the camps, amongst the people, right? But guess what? It can't stop this truth at the end of the day. No matter what you do, you can't. You're not going to stop this. All right? This is not going to be stopped. All right? You can have people infiltrate, right? Just as Judas did, right? Judas Iscariot, right? Yahawashi knew that he was going to betray him, right? But guess what? That didn't stop the ministry. That didn't stop the people who were chosen from the foundation of earth. That's the thing that they underestimate. That guess what? Doesn't matter. All right? Because those who were chosen from the beginning, they're going to get it. Okay? They're going to get it. All right? So, and the ones who are not, and they weren't meant to get it in the beginning, from the beginning. This is Romans 11 and verse 7. It says, "What then? Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election have obtained it, and the rest were blinded." So many of our people, are blinded, right? And then they'll see these things and they'll be like, "What?" And they'll fall into the belief of this stuff, right? But those of the elect, they're going to get it, and nothing's going to stop them from getting it. All right? Just as Yahawashi, told the church of Philadelphia. All right? It says, "And to the angel of the church in Philadelphia write these things, saith he that is holy, he that is true, he that hath the key of David." It says, "He that openeth, and no man shutteth, and shutteth, and no man openeth." Okay? Because once Yahawashi opens your wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, no man can shut it, right? And once he shuts it, no man can open it. Okay? So understand that, right? Those who are meant to get it, they're going to get it. And those who are not, they weren't meant to get it in the first place. All right? But we know the tactics of this devil and the things that he's going to be doing. All right, and we're not ignorant to that. All right, so I just want to do this quick lesson. Lord's will, this was edifying. Right, with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Kol Halal Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. Peace and blessings to the elect of the 12 tribes scattered abroad. A mighty shalom to the 144,000 men, and to the rest of the elect. Stay diligent, stay focused. Keep praying for one another, right? Continue to abide, right, in the shadow of Yahawashi. All right? Let him be your refuge, all right, in these days, all right? Double honors to the apostles and elders, right, of GMS, who have ruled well through the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days, right? And with that, I'll say shalom.